right? So like that. So with the help of event-driven nature of the JavaScript, we are able to construct Node.js. Okay, we will discuss all these things later on. Uh, Now, how do I attach the JavaScript file to HTML? Okay, how do I run a JavaScript file through HTML? Simple. So by using a simple script tag. Okay, let's go for that. What I'm going to do, mm, I just want to take one more file. Okay, let us. I'll just go for this one here itself only. So what I want to do after this, I just type in HTML and press tab on the keyboard. It will auto complete the HTML structure in the Sublime text editor. And let's make a title. Now, there are two ways of placing your JavaScript file or script tag. One is in the head section, okay, by using a script tag. I'm going to link my JavaScript file, or I can write my JavaScript code. Okay, just like you did for the CSS, right? For CSS, you write something like a link tag, right? Similarly, if you want to attach the JavaScript code to your HTML, we use a script tag. Okay, by using that, you can link your JavaScript code. So in between this, I'm going to write my JavaScript code, something like alert. Alert is a function in JavaScript, okay, which is used to display some content on top of the browser. Okay, it's a kind of a dialog box. Okay, so here I'm going to write hello world, hello JavaScript. Okay, so let me run this. So whenever I launch my HTML program inside the browser, it will immediately run that particular script tag. See, I got a dialog box, okay, which is prompting, showing a text content and taking the OK button. Now, when I click on this, now it's got ended the JavaScript program. So let me add one thing here. I just want to add a h1 tag. Hello world. I just have taken a hello world, and I'm going to take a paragraph content. Hello. Come back here, refresh the page. Where is my h1 tag and paragraph tag? Okay. The problem with this particular script tag in head section, see, the HTML is going to evaluate in simply it will move from top to down, right? Okay, the execution will be start from this point and it will end at this point. Okay, so what I'm saying is first it will load the script and then it will load the body section of the HTML. Why? Because it follow the top to down approach. Okay, so the thing is here we are using an alert box. Alert box is a kind of dialog box which will seeking for the user acceptance. So we need to press OK. Whenever we press OK, then only the control will transfer to the body section. Okay, until unless it will stay inside the script tag only. So when I press, now you're able to see your UI content or HTML content. This is one of the big disadvantages if you place a script tag inside the head section. First, code is going to run, JavaScript code is going to run. After that, your HTML content or body content is going to be displayed. That is not a good idea. For example, if anything wrong with the script, if anything wrong in the JavaScript code, if JavaScript is unable to load in some browsers, assume like that. If in such a case, what happens? It won't display our website. Okay, why? Because until unless your JavaScript code loaded, you won't display. The browser won't display any HTML content. For this purpose, what we do, we take this script tag. Always place your script tag before the closing of the HTML body section. Got it? This is a good practice always. So now what happens is, if you load this one, always the content will be loaded. After that, you are able to see your JavaScript code. Of course, in this browser, Chrome is not going to show that one. See, might be I need to open in an incognito window. Chrome will always store some cache memory, so because of that, it's will show some such type of weird things. Okay, or you can go with the Mozilla Firefox, or you can go for incognito window. It doesn't store any browser history or cache memory, something like that. So when press it, no, here also not happening. It's loading the first one. Did I place this one? Yeah. Anyway, let's take with Mozilla Firefox. Now take this one, hit it. See, already the content is displayed on top of the JavaScript. Hello JavaScript is able to showing on this particular dialog box, right? Whenever press OK, so it's not disturbing your UI content. First, the HTML body content is loaded. After that, script is going to be executed. Got it? If you place the same thing in the top of the head section, go for the Mozilla Firefox and refresh the page. See, no UI content got loaded. I mean, no HTML body content got loaded. So when we press it OK, then it will display the content. Okay, so it's not a good practice to place your script inside the head section. Always place before the closing of the body section. Now refresh the page. So already content got loaded, and you are able to see script code also. Okay, that's the thing. Next, that is a good practice. And what is the this kind of things will be get in your interview, okay, interview questions. For the best place to place the best position. Best practice, I can say, to place script tag inside HTML. So my answer is before the closing of the body section of HTML. Okay, so always do remember this one. So how many ways I can load my script? Just like a CSS. Okay, I can load my script code in HTML. Okay, so there are three things probably you know about this one. One is inline scripting. Okay, second one is uh, internal scripting. Third one is external scripting. So inline scripting in the sense, you do always write the JavaScript code inline to your HTML tags. So for example, you can take this one on load. Okay, there with the help of attributes, I'm going to load some JavaScript code. Let's make this to be hello world. Open this in the browser. See, JavaScript code got loaded. Hello world got loaded. Actually, hello world first executed, but because of the browser, this is yes. Take this one. Actually, the hello world got loaded first. After that, this will be executed. Why? Because on top of this hello world, we are able to see hello JavaScript. Okay, so this is masking this particular hello world. That is why hello world getting at the top. In the background, you will find that particular thing. Okay, got it. And right, that's how this is called inline scripting. The next one is internal scripting. If you write any script tag like this, and if you place any JavaScript code in between the script tag, that is called internal scripting. Okay, external scripting in the sense you have to write. I'm going to take a new folder, JS. Okay, inside this JS, I'm going to take one file, something called introduction. Introduction.js. I just have taken a separate file for JavaScript. Okay, so in this particular separate file, what I'm going to do, I just want to write something like hello JavaScript now. I'll paste it here. Okay, now you have to link this separate file to this particular HTML section. So how do I do that? Just use src attribute inside the script tag and locate your JavaScript file. Something like this. This is the way you can add and external file to your JavaScript code. Sorry, to your HTML code. See, still it's working. The advantage of this particular external scripting is always we prefer this external scripting. Why? Because this is completely isolating the JavaScript code from the HTML code, right? We are not writing any JavaScript code inside this particular HTML code. So we are isolating. So isolation means we can easily manage our project. If you have a separate code for HTML, if you have separate code for JavaScript, separate code for CSS, so that we are able to understand and we can easily manage and we can easily debug it. Okay. If you write all the stuff in a single file, it's very difficult to handle the file, or it is difficult to manage, or difficult to understand. Okay. Such kind of problems that we'll experience in our applications. So always it is best practice to use external scripting for your big projects. Okay, right? The next one. I hope you understand this kind of things like where to place JavaScript file and what are the external scripting, internal scripting, etc., etc. Now, let's start with our actual JavaScript. Let's. I'm going to start from a file called variables and data types. Okay, so let's make these things with data types. .html. just have taken. Now take your HTML file, JS, variable, and data types. Script tag. Now you have to attach your external. Always I prefer external scripting, so I just go for the scripting again. Something I have taken variables and data types.js. Okay. Now close this one. Close this one. Right. So I just have taken HTML file. Now let me attach your script file. Okay. So I'm using external scripting, variables and data types. .js. Got it. Now let's see what actually a variable is. Now you can see when you attach your JavaScript file, you check for errors in the browser. If there is no errors, if there is no errors in the console window, then it is a good sign to start your work. Okay. For example, if you misplace or if you what do you call, if you place some erroneous code or something like that, see, wrongly typed um, file names, okay, that will generate some errors. See, my browser is unable to find this particular file name. That means your JavaScript code is not yet loaded. Okay, so first you clear this error, then you can go for your work. So the thing is, refresh the page. Still, I'm getting some error. That is equal to. And by the way, where is this file? Variables and data types.js. It was there inside the JS folder, right? So the path is wrong. I just place js slash variables and data type.js. Why? Because it is there in the JS file. First, open the JS file and look at this particular file. No errors, right? Now let's stack up the variables. Now, what is the variable? Okay, it's a name given to a. It's a name given to a memory location. Okay. Uh, for example, see, this is my RAM memory. Okay. When I want to create a variable, it will occupy some memory. That particular block of memory is going to be addressed or is going to be labeled with a variable name A. Okay. Got it? So something like that. So in JavaScript, a variable can be, so let me go for the declaration. Declaration. Okay. JavaScript, a variable can be declared by using a var keyword, var a. So it means this is a name given to your memory location. Okay. So in order to say whether this particular this kind of instruction is going to create a variable, in the sense you have to use a keyword var a means it's going to create a variable inside your RAM memory. This is your RAM memory. Okay, this is the way you can declare your variable inside your JavaScript. And by the way, what kind of value I'm going to store in this particular variable? JavaScript is a dynamic language. You can store any kind of data inside the variable A. Okay, you can store an integer, you can store a string, you can store in a character. Whereas if you look into other languages like C, C++, Java, we use something like int A, right? What do you mean with this? In C language, an integer will take 2 bytes of memory in some kind of, okay, integer in C language, integer will take 2 bytes of memory. Character will take 1 byte of memory, some kind of in some kind of compilers, right? It's completely dependent on the compiler. But how much memory a variable in JavaScript is going to take? How many bytes is going to take? Any idea? Divya garu, Kavya garu, Sachin, Vanchi garu. Just guess it. Okay. By default, it will take 4 bytes. Almost, yeah. Very good, Kavya garu. Okay. Uh, a variable in JavaScript by default will take 4 bytes. That means 64 bits. Always remember, it will take 4 bytes. Of course, dynamically the size of the variable is going to vary. Why? Because in the same variable we are going to place different kinds of data, right? It might be integer or string, so that dynamically the memory size of the variable can be increased or decreased. Okay, but by default it will take 4 bytes of memory in our JavaScript. Whereas in C language, all these things, if I create an integer variable, it will always take 2 bytes, and you're not able to place any other kind of data. Okay, so that is a variable. Now let's see. Let's talk about the data types. Data types. So what is the data types? It's the name itself indicating that it is providing the type of the data. Okay, it is indicating, or it is representing. That's type of the data. Okay, what kind of data it is. Okay, for example, generally speaking, there are two kinds of data types are there. Primitive data types. Okay, first one, primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types and non-primitive data types. So primitive means, okay, immutable data types. Remember this word, mutable and immutable data types. Immutable data, I can say, which cannot change. Immutable data type means the data can't be changed. The representation of the data we're not able to change. See, for example, all the data, like in JavaScript, we have 5 types of primitive data types are there. First one, number, integers, all those things. Okay, second one, I can go for Boolean. Third one, string. Okay, fourth one, undefined. Fifth one, null. There are 5 kinds of data types are there. And by the way, a new data type was introduced in ECMAScript 6 that is called symbol. Okay, so of course this is not going to be is going to work in our browser, so I'm not going to show that one. Okay, so we have 6 types of data types in ECMAScript 6. In ECMAScript 5 we have only 5 data types are there. Okay, so number, boolean, string, undefined, null, all these are immutable data. Immutable in the sense, see, for example, if I take a value of something like mm, what I can tell, I can take something SACHIN, Sachin. Let us take an example, a string constant I have taken. A string constant is representing a primitive data type. Why? Because this is a data which can't be changed. See, if I use any other what do you call any other character inside of it, the pronunciation will vary, right? The pronunciation is going to be completely different. See, I'm going to use 3 I's here. So Sachin, something like that. Uh, and if I add something like a Sachin, see the pronunciation is going to change if you add one more character to that particular string constant. Okay, if you want to make this to be what do you call a proper word, okay, Sachin. Okay, always you need to use this one. So if you add any other characters, it will change the behavior. It will change the what do you call the representation or the meaning. What I can say. So you're not able to change this one. You're not able to change this string constant. Okay, you're not going to modify the string constant alone. This is the constant. You're not able to do that. You're not able to change. For example, in the same case, if I take a 5, value 5, is there any other way to write a value file in computer? There is only one way, right? The 5 will always look like this only. Is there any other way? No, we can't change it. We don't have any other way. Okay, so such kind of constants we call them as a immutable data. Okay, whereas non-primitive data types are mutable data. So in this you can find something like objects, arrays. Let me take first arrays, objects, and functions. Okay, all this comes under this non-primitive data types. Okay, and you can think of array as a single entity. See, probably you know about arrays in other languages, so I just want to make use of that. A of something like 10, a of 10, something I'm going to use like this. Okay, so in this I can store some values, right? 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, something like. Think in terms of a single value, not in terms of 5 values. But in this particular, see, even though in the previous case we use a string constant, Sachin is a single value, right? We are talking this as a single value, but we are trying to change internal characters. Okay, we are trying to modify. What it's not possible. Why? Because this is a constant. We are not able to change it. Whereas coming to this array, this is a memory location. We can change the internal values. Instead of 1 to 3, I can 4, 1, 4, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Got it? So this is what is called, that means we are able to change the internal values of a particular item. Think in terms of a single entity. Okay? Don't think in terms of separate things like this. Things just like this. This is a constant. Even though we have a multiple characters, you are thinking in terms of a name, right? A single word. Similarly, all these values think in terms of a single name array. Okay, then only you can get a proper meaning for this one. So in the internal values of this particular name, okay, can be changed. That is called mutable data. The internal values of this particular name can't be changed. If I change, the meaning will different. Okay, why? Because this is a constant. Okay, hope you understand this one. Likewise, we can change objects, arrays, and the code inside the functions. That is why we call them as a mutable data. Okay, I hope you understand the word immutable and immutable data. Okay, so this kind of things is very popular nowadays for a React.js or functional programming in JavaScript. Okay, we'll talk about those things later if you go through React.js and all those things. Okay, right. So hope you understand. Okay, we have two different sets of data types out there. One is primitive data types. Second one is non-primitive data types. Now let's get start with this. Now let me create a variable first. Okay, uh, where uh, a equal to, oh, let me create this one. This is called declaration. A equal to 20. This is called initialization. Okay, so by default, the value inside of the a variable is inside of a variable is what you have. Generally, in other languages like C, Java, we have some garbage values, right? Okay. C language, the C variable should be used after initialization only. Why? Because you find some garbage content. Similarly, JavaScript also has some garbage content, but we named it as undefined. That garbage content. I'll talk about this. What is an undefined later on. Okay, for the time being, by default, any kind of variable that we declare that has undefined value. Got it? Okay. Whenever you initialize this a value inside A, this is going to override this particular default value. Okay. So now A stores a value of 20. Okay. Now let us see. I'm going to use a JavaScript method. Okay, a DOM method generally. I'll talk about the DOM for the time being. Assume that we have a method so that I can see some content on my browser through JavaScript. So document.write is a method. Okay, and don't worry about the syntax. Okay, document.write. I'll explain this one later. So here, what I'm going to do, I just want to print the value of a. Okay, I'm just printing the value of a. Come here and refresh the page. You got a 20 in the document. Got it? So if you want to make this result to be effective, so a is equal to, okay, and plus a. So this is a one kind of expression in JavaScript. Expression in the sense which contains some inequalities. Sorry, which contains some operators and variables. We call it as a expression, right? So something like y is equal to mx plus c. This is one kind of, this is actually equation. This is an expression, left side expression, right side expression. The expression involves variables and operators. This is a plus operator, these are variables. Okay, this is an assignment operator. Assignment is you are assigning the value of left side, sorry, right side to left side. Okay, something like that. So now assume this is a kind of expression. What it's saying that the left hand side of the operator is a string and right hand side of the value is a. What the JavaScript will do, a plus in JavaScript can perform two things. One is addition, second one is string concatenation. That means it can join two strings. Okay. If any one of the if any one of the operands of this plus operator, if any one of the operand of this plus operator is string, then it will perform string concatenation. If both are non-strings, then it will perform addition operation. Okay, so in this case, the left side operand is a string, so that it will perform string concatenation. So, but this is not a string, right? Now, what the JavaScript will do, it will convert the variable into a string. So this value will be evaluated as first as a 20, and this 20 integer is converted into a string. Now both are strings. This kind of conversion is called implicit conversion. Okay, JavaScript always do the implicit conversion. See, if the left hand side value is a string, automatically the value of 20 is converted as a string. It's not a number. So finally, it's going to join these two strings. So finally, you can get a equal to 20. Got it? We will see such type of things later on. Okay. So let me place this to be a. Let's see the result. Still the same result. Got it? Now this is called string concatenation, implicit string concatenation, implicit string conversion, something like that you can use. Okay, that's fine. So this is the way you can create a variable. And by the way, there are some rules to define the variable names. Okay, don't use any special characters except a dollar, dollar or underscore in your variable name declaration of JavaScript. Okay, and use meaningful variable names. Okay, if you are trying to calculate what you call interest, okay, don't use int, don't use any keywords like var, for, something like that. Don't use any keywords as a variable names. Okay, and try to use some meaningful variable names, and the variable name should be short and concise. Okay, don't use more number of characters in your program. It will impact your page performance. If the number of character increases, definitely the page size increases, which will impact your uh, page loading. Okay, so page performance. So always use meaningful and concise or short and concise variable names. Okay, now let's talk about the primitive data type. What is the time? Okay, so coming to the number category, what are the things that we call them as a numbers in JavaScript? I can call integers as a numbers, integers, right? I can call a real numbers. Integers means it will start from uh, sorry, it will start from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, but it doesn't include any point values. Okay, negative numbers will be there, positive numbers will be there, zero will be there, but it doesn't include any point values. Real numbers. So in this particular real numbers, it range from minus infinity to plus infinity, but it include point values 2.5, 3.66678, something like that. So I'm going to group this one and this one inside. I'm going to categorize this one inside the number category. Okay, what other types of number that we can see in JavaScript? We can see the integers, we can see real numbers. We call them as a floats, actually, float values in other languages. What other things we have? Um, Math dot constant, math constant, I can say math constants. Okay. So math constants in the sense, pi value, all these things that will come from, that is given by your JavaScript. Okay. Math.py. There is a library in, sorry, there is a object in JavaScript. Okay. Something called math. From inside this math, we have a plenty of math constants are there. Pi, e, log n, something log 10. So I'm going to categorize those constants as a number category. Okay. And we can categorize a number generated from a function like this. See, I'm providing a string here. Here I just have given a string. The output generated from this particular function is also a number category. Last but not least, I'm going to use a nan. Nan is also a number. Even though it's saying a not a number, still I'm going to place it inside the numbered category. Okay. So this is a different way of representing our numbers. Now let's talk about this one. So what I'm going to do, for just comment out this one. For to comment it, toggle the comment. Use control and press forward slash so that you'll find you can toggle the comment on and off. Okay, I just commented the first one line in JavaScript. So what I'm going to do, again, write document dot write off. Just add some. And by the way, the specialty of this function is you can write some HTML code inside of that. Okay, so if you write HTML code according to the code you have written, according to that, it will render some HTML elements on your page. So here you can see, I just want to place h2 content, h2 primitive data types. Okay, h2. I'm going to use this one align center. So use single quotes. So don't place double quotes inside the double quotes. Why? Because if I use double quotes, what the JavaScript will do is it will find this is the start of the one double quote, and this will be the end of the double quote. So it's a better to place a single quote instead of double quotes to make it as an entire as a string. Okay. Now let's see what's the output. Now you got what do you call title primitive data types. Okay. And I'm going to write one more thing here. And by the way, you let me highlight that one by using a mark tag. Okay, I just add a mark tag. See, I got a mark tag. Okay. Again, I have placed this one. I just want to remove this one. After this, I just want to place something primitive data types. Now it should be number category. Number. That's it. Let me place this one inside. Okay, number category. So what I'm going to do, document dot write inside this. I'm going to take two variables where x equal to 9, where sorry. What I'm doing, I just want to represent variable and data type, right? So I just have taken a variable x with a value 9. Okay, so inside this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a br tag. Why? Because If you want a new line on the document, you have to use a br tag. Inside this, I just want to find out the value of x, so I can use x is equal to plus x plus type of x is equal to, there is a operator called type of. This is not a keyword, this is an operator, generally speaking. Okay, this was placed inside the JavaScript. So what it will do is it will bring the type of the variable. Okay, type of operator is going to use to bring the type of the variable. Got it? So I'm going to print both type as well as the value of the variable. Now let me place some gap here. Okay, something like this. So this is a value. I can say I can use value of x. Now let's see. See, value of x equal to 9, value of type of x equal to number. That means an integer number is categorized in the number category. Okay. Likewise, you can place other kinds of data. Okay. Let me place some real numbers, 9 point some number. Okay. And math constant, I can use math.py, and I can use number of, you can place some string number inside this. Let's see how we are going to get. In all these cases, a float value, a math.py, or some number output, all these cases, we got a type is of number only. Okay. And some questions here is how much of uh, how many number of digits I can represent for a float number or an integer. So let me take that one. So how big a particular value is going to be represented in JavaScript. Let me try and refresh the page. You can see almost you can find 20 characters, 20 digits, not characters. So what is that? 1, 2, 4. This will be 4, and this will be 4. This will be 4. So 5 4s are 20, right? You are able to represent 20 digits maximum in the JavaScript number. Okay, of course, you can represent an infinity value also, that is to be categorized. I forgot that one. Infinity is also a number, plus or minus. Okay, okay, okay. So, but the maximum representation of the number, see, if I take a calculator, how much big a number can be represented? This is the maximum number I can represent. If I perform any multiplication operation, then that will be showed in terms of exponentials, right? So similarly, maximum number of digits that I can represent as a number inside JavaScript is 20. Correct? Remaining all are showing it as a zeros. So what is the value? 249. 249. I think this is the maximum value. Let's see. 24. It's accepted. How many characters are there? Digits are there? 4, 4, 8. Again 8. Okay. I need to add one more 9. Let's find out. It's not accepting. I have given a 9, but it's not accepting the 9. Only the last digit is taken as a 8. Okay. So why 20 digits? Any idea? The reason is I told you the first, a JavaScript variable contains 4 bytes. Okay. Each byte is of what is called 8 bits, right? So total 64 bits. Okay. 1 second. 1 second, please. Right. 64 bits in the sense each digit can occupy 4 bits, right? So how many digits I can represent? Almost 80, right? Let's check for this one. You can take 64 bits. 4 bytes means 64. 4 into 8. Sorry. It's not 64 bits. It's 32 bits. 32 into 4, right? 100. Yeah. Sorry. So 100 bits. Each digit can occupy 4 bits. Okay. So how many bits I can store? So 32 bits by 4 in the sense eight numbers, 8 digits I can represent. Okay. Only 8. Probably it was 8 bytes. Okay, not 4 bytes. So how many digits I can represent? Totally 16 digits I can represent, right? I'll check after this. Okay. So